fmtraining.tv, the wonderful live stream that we do 5 days a week to talk about the amazing FileMaker platform. I'm here with the absolutely fantastic Christian Schmitz, which if you are on the show at all, you should know we host him quite a bit, and we do it for good reason. Christian makes the absolutely fantastic monkey bread plugin for FileMaker, and I've said it before, and I'll keep saying it because it keeps being really true. If you're like, man, my FileMaker database won't be able to do this thing I need to for it, you can probably grab MBS and it'll promptly solve all of your problems. Even just having MBS around in development is really amazing. I've known many engineers, and like we have one major, you all know Nick. I bring up the story every time just because it cracks me up every time. Nick has been violently anti-plugin for the majority of his FileMaker career. He got stuck with MBS at one point, I'm pretty sure, because me and Richard put it into auto-download on a database somewhere. And then he got hooked because the autocomplete on the variables and the ability to save loop commands and all those, and the color scheming and all this other stuff makes it invaluable, even just from a development standpoint, even if you never use any of the functions. But also there's 7,000 functions to use, so I highly 7,500. I was looking at it earlier today. I highly recommend that you pick up and look at that. Real quick, let's talk about the live stream training schedule. So it's one of these schedules. Today we are doing adding ChatGPT to the Script Workspace context beneath the MBS plugin, which is fun. I know that AI continues to be a hot and interesting topic. We also have a general Q&A, so if you have questions about, I would like FileMaker to do this, or I would like MBS to do this, can it do this? You should let me know so I can let Christian know and he can answer your question. There are two things that you should support today if you feel like it. You should go get the Monkey Bread plugin. Yeah, it knows exactly where we're going. There's a free version. You should, to be honest, it doesn't cost that much. You should just buy it. But if you're like really on the fence or like kind of waffling, you should get the free version. There's a lot of stuff that comes with the free version. It'll immediately radicalize your FileMaker development life, so I highly recommend that you grab that. It's fantastic. Also, the documentation on this is insane. Like, seriously, the documentation for this is extreme, and there's tons of examples. It's fabulous. If you would like to support the channel itself, you can do that real fast by picking up one of these paid subscriptions. We talk about a lot on the stream. We don't necessarily always answer like super direct, simple, straightforward questions on stream. Sometimes we do. It depends on what we're doing. We vacillate between like beginner to intermediate to advanced level of topics. But if you're like looking to get very specific things tackled and answered to you without an hour-long stream, you can pick up our videos. They're 4 to like 30 minutes, very animated, and hopefully you find a lot of people get a lot of use out of them. So if you've bought it already, thank you very much. Hey Christian, what are we doing today?
Yeah, well, what do you want to talk about?
Do you want to tackle the ChatGPT thing first, or do you want to do questions?
Yeah, we do ChatGPT.
Okay.
There are so many people asking about this. It's a very popular thing, and so I finally made a little, a little example file for people to use. You can write, and you can use it for whatever you like in the application. Like ChatGPT can be helpful to help you write nice text, like if you have homework to do, or you need to write a blog post, you can just put in whatever text you have and tell ChatGPT to make it better. Or you can use it to translate, like here. So next and FileMaker forms. So you can put in some text in one language, and you can have a button in your solution, and it can make a translation for you. So I saw an example where someone had a newsletter tool in FileMaker, and you could write an email to your customers, and then you could have buttons to translate it automatically to the other languages.
Ooh, that's nifty.
So you don't need to do it yourself. It's just pass in the text.
That's extremely nifty is what that is.
Yeah. And if you like, you can even use placeholders, so you can, hide a little bit of the data. Yeah, let's see how this works.
How does that work?
Well, technically, you can do it with FileMaker, with insert from URL if you want, but well, I have a plugin. I love to use my plugin, so I just use my plugin. And the plugin has also some nice things, like we use here perform in background, which allows us to run the query in the background. The user doesn't need to wait. The user interface is not blocked. Like you could have buttons there to do, translate to German, translate to English, translate to French. You click the buttons and it doesn't happen. You don't need to wait. It happens automatically after a few seconds.
And then
you can continue to click buttons while the computer's doing work in the background.
That's fantastic.
So first, we build a little JSON here. So you see, I put up a bigger font size here so you can see it. I can, format it so you can better read it. Use the utilities. So, and now when you build something like this, you may want to also just evaluate here so you can see what happens and if it's a JSON you want to have, and then you can, like here, edit something as long as you want, and then test it and see if the JSON you build is the correct one. So that's how I do a lot of things here. So until you get the JSON. In case of ChatGPT, we have to pick a model. So ChatGPT has several models. You can get a list on their website. The mini model is a little bit faster and cheaper to use than the full model. We limit the answer here to 100 tokens. Well, it puts in a limit. I mean, so you don't waste all your tokens on one query, and it writes you 10 pages of content. And then we have here different roles with contents. So this is the system text. This is my instruction to ChatGPT. And then we have the user text with the text to translate. The idea here is that the system text comes from me with instructions, and the user text comes from the user, and the user can't put instructions in his user text because that's the text we work on. So we split that and avoid people injecting their commands into our translation. So let's test it. Ein Gedicht. So you can put a command there, and it will not actually do it. So, but if I put it here, it will run it as a command. You see?
That's really cool.
So this is the instruction, and this is the text we work on. So, and you don't want to have this be set by the user. Okay.
No, though you could, which is kind of interesting.
What?
I said you could have it be set by the user if you wanted to for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, but this calls cost money, so you don't want to have someone just waste it.
Yeah.
Okay. We put in the JSON as a content of our query. Post content. We set a few HTTP headers. So when you go to the website from OpenAI, you can create an authorization key, an API key, and I have it in a field here, so I don't need to show it to you here. And organization name, which you also find on the website. So you get an organization identifier and key, and you need to pass it in the headers as well as here the data type of what we are sending. Once we did that, we need to pick out the URL. In this case, I'm using here version 1 of the API with the shed completions. So I can send in some text and it will give me a completion, which is the usual chat call. There are other calls available for other things. So you pick one. And we set the script to trigger when the perform in background is finished. So this is here, I just use get file name to get the current file name. So you don't need to change this when you copy the script, but the finished script name needs to go here. which points to the script in the same file. And for this to work, you need to have permissions to run a script by the plugin. So can check this. So there's security and there's a privilege set. There must be the checkbox here for FM plugin. If that's allowed, the plugin can do SQL calls and trigger scripts in files. And when a customer complains that something is not working, it's most likely this one. Okay, then we send the request, perform in background. So the script ends, the plugin continues to work in the background. FileMaker can do whatever it likes. Nothing will stop the plugin unless the application crashes.
That's insanely useful because we had to have a whole when we did the voice transcription stuff for ChatGPT for BVA, we had to have a whole screen of don't do anything. Don't stop, don't like mess with the file at all
Yeah.
because the instinct is that, oh, I clicked this, I want to leave now because it should be doing things in the background. But with this, it actually does things in the background, which is
Okay,
extremely
so it does it in the background, nothing happens. FileMaker can do whatever. It can show a dialog. It can do some other things. Like you could run another script to build the next task while this is running. And then eventually the finished script will run. So we ask here the script parameter is the ID of our transfer. And then we can ask here, give me some debug messages at this text here. We show you the plugin version, the curl version, the FileMaker version, the platform, the URL you ask for. This is useful information for me. If you send me this text and you tell me it's not working, I will tell you and will say, oh, your plugin is 10 years old. Your FileMaker is 10 years old. You use maybe the wrong URL here. We see here the SSL negotiation. So we see what encryption is used. If there's something failing, we would see it. We see what you're passing. There's my private key. Don't copy it. And then we get here the answer. And in the answer, there are headers like here. We see how long it took, what OpenAI version is, some rate limits, the ID for the request, like you can have another request referring to this request. You could find it in the audit log for the OpenAI account. It sets a cookie, yeah. So we can inspect this in case something goes wrong. And then we get the result. The result is a block of JSON. And we just put it in a field. And then I also use here a JSON function to actually pick from the result the answer. And so you get choices. This is an array with several answers. So you can ask ChatGPT to give me, for example, 3 different answers. And then I could pick the best one myself. So we pick the first answer and then the message and then the content. And this is our text for the answer. And we put that in a field. If we would get an error back from ChatGPT, we wouldn't have this field. So we would get the JSON with the error message in the field. And then we have to be sure to clean up. So this frees the transaction. And so that's basically how you would run a ChatGPT call. Do you have any question?
We do actually. I have tried this and I've ran into an issue sending too much info to OpenAI/ChatGPT, 70K characters. Do you have a way to chunk?
Well, you would have to look up the documentation for the API and see if they have some parameters for that, like a more coming flag. So you can call the API several times and pass on the text. But for that, you would need a session on the server. So you would use a different API, different call. This is the API for just a one-time call.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
On the other side, these token limits, you may be able to, increase the limits a little bit. So you could send bigger token. like this 76,000K. I think yeah, a normal word is 2 or 3 tokens usually. So you may have a limit of maybe 200,000 tokens per request. So okay. Any other thing, especially about here running in the background, maybe?
How much can you do when a performance in the background? Like, can you leave the layout? Does it have to be in the same layout? How much
Oh yeah.
leeway do you
Um,
have?
you know, the while it's running in the background, we can switch the layout. We can do whatever we like, and eventually this script gets called. So actually, this script should maybe do something like go to layout, because we don't know in which layout we will be when this comes back. Like we may need to find the same record, because anything can happen. I mean, the user could move to a different layout, and in other examples, like we use that for sending emails. So which email? I think this one. Let's see. Yeah, send parallel. So it sends parallel, and because of that, we have here a script to handle the email being sent without actually doing anything on the layout. So when the answer is coming back, we can use here a SQL command to update our table
Mm-hmm.
without using the layout. So if the user switches the layout, it doesn't matter.
So you don't have to do like the whole like
No.
catch the record, go back to the layout, make a new window, make sure they can't see the window so they're not disturbed.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, we do that with one SQL statement to just store here error log status timestamp, because that's for sending hundreds of emails, and every email has its record. And so we pass in here with a tag. With a tag on the curl session, we pass our ID.
Mm-hmm.
So in the script, we know the ID.
Oh, I like that's another session. But I like the fact if you hover over it tells you that the variable is currently empty.
Oh yeah, that's something new. I had it in the debugger. Now I put it in the Script Workspace too, because people ask for it. It's useful for debugging. Like, if you run a script like this, oh, I missed to put in a license key. Okay. So you can see here there's text
It
and
tells
in
that's
the
it.
variable. That's
That's
very useful. Also works for fields, and yeah, very useful.
uh
Close that.
we have comments. The notification Margaret mentioned sounds like the open AI rate limiting for new models. So
Hmm.
I think that's for the question earlier about sending too much into the chat.
I can move the mouse over the field, and the plugin may do the tooltip. How does it work? Yeah, here it works. So I
Ah,
see my answer,
that's
Oh
really
yeah, there's a space. The plugin doesn't do. That's a bug. Yeah, still work in progress. So if this is done, let's go to the other example file. Let's see Script Workspace.
yes.
We wanted to do something useful with ChatGPT and FileMaker. So there was the idea that we could take a script, we could select all the script lines here on a Mac, and then run a command with a context menu, summary script, and ask ChatGPT to actually read the script and give us a summary of what's in the script.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so we
Extreme.
could do a lot of things with that, because we just pass the text of the script
Mm-hmm.
as XML to ChatGPT to do something on it. We could even make a different thing. Let's just see, modify this, duplicate. So let's say here list variables, maybe. Let's here put in some different text. There's a command. So this is basically the ChatGPT query in one big calculation. So I have one big let statement doing all the different things here, like run the menu command to copy the lines, ask the plugin to get us the XML from the clipboard, then make a new curl session with some headers. You see organization ID, authorization, which model to use. And then here's the command. And here we could say, please list the variables used in this FileMaker script. So, so we build it again with here set element. And then we run it synchronously, get the result back, get the answer from the result JSON, and this will be displayed in a message box here. There's a message box call. And this all happens when we use the plugin to run it in the, I have to install it here. So when I run this with the context menu, let's see what happens. Script parameter.
That's cool.
Yeah. So just run the scripts through ChatGPT.
That's extremely nifty.
So,
What that is.
what do we need to explain? The first thing is this is a sample database coming with a plugin. Context menu things. So we have a couple of things on the context menu. The base thing we use is for snippets. Like here, script parameter core. This is just a snippet you may need for a new script, like if you make a new script, here insert a for loop. Like you have the snippets, a loop in a portal, things you may need, function header, whatever. These are things you can do. You just copy a few lines with normal here, FileMaker copy. And then you go here and say, make a new one. And then you can here say, get clip, oh, wait, type, script steps, get clipboard data. And then, oh, wait. We need here the snippet. Goes here. So this is a snippet, the XML, it's built. This is our let statement, which gets run by the plugin when we use this menu command here. Insert my snippet. Need one or more rows selected. No. This can be always enabled. Install. Go back to the script workspace and say here, insert my snippet. Yeah, I didn't pay myself. You see, I can just put in snippets in this database and then recall them with the context menu.
That's extremely cool.
Yeah, I mean, every company probably has their usual things on how to do something.
Yes.
Like here, find sequence, where is it?
No, Richard's very particular about how you write finds in FileMaker.
Yeah, let me see. I don't see. No, install. So every company could have that. Hey, why don't I see it? Where's the find sequence? I was in the wrong record. Okay, again. Insert find sequence. So you can just insert it.
Yep.
Yeah. And a trick I learned is here, after enter find mode, you do the go to layout. Because if you do it first, it will load actually records. And if you do it after the enter find mode, it doesn't load records.
Oh, interesting.
So you can have your standard snippets here. And we made quite a few snippets already as examples here. And then new is a summary for the clipboard or message box. So you can use that with ChatGPT. And I find this very useful. And you can build whatever you like this way. And, yeah.
Someone would like to know what version of MBS this is. They're like, is this 14.4?
14.5, release 6. The one I uploaded this morning. got a few new tooltip tricks. So we may have some Windows people here.
We always do.
So, and on Windows, we have the snippets database, which you can also use to have snippets there and then paste them whenever you like export, install, picker dialog hotkey. So this is a script to install a hotkey with a plugin to run code. Here to run code which shows a list dialog with a plugin to let you pick snippets and then have them go in the script workspace. And the hotkey is Control F7 currently. So let's try. Yeah, there it is. So you can use this one on Windows to also put in script steps. Maybe something for the Windows people. Now, if you want to use ChatGPT also on Windows, you would have to run this expression with a hotkey instead of using the context menu. But it's possible. So the Windows people should check out the snippets for Windows database.
We do have a question popping up, but it's not necessarily directly related to this. Basically, they're asking, is the newest version of MBS backwards compatible with FileMaker? How many versions is it backwards compatible with?
Well, on Windows, you can take our plugin version, our current plugin version, and use it in FileMaker 7. On the Mac side, since we deliver a 64-bit plugin, you can go back to FileMaker 14. So the current MBS plugin should work on FileMaker 14. You need macOS 10.13 or newer because there was a change with Xcode which made it incompatible with older versions. If you need it for older versions, we can probably find something in the archives. Or technically, well, if you send a bucket of money, I can just get an older Mac and try to build it for an older Mac with an older Xcode version. Yeah. But I would always suggest to use a recent MBS plugin version because I keep updating all the, this open source libraries and my code. We fix some things, and it would be bad if you use an older FileMaker version and you run into a bug or a security problem. There are reasons why you shouldn't use an old FileMaker version. Let me find it. Yeah, something like this. So this is a FM security com. It's a blog, and there are a couple of examples on how to use bugs in the FileMaker protocol to connect to a database and basically read all the data without authentication. And problem solved in here 23 or 19.6. So anything before that is basically open. So don't use it.
I did not know this blog existed. I'm gonna have to go read it.
Yeah, it's quite new, and I'm happy about this guy doing some security-related things. And here, this is reported but not yet resolved. And here the dilip hacking that was fixed some time ago. And let's go down to the timeline. So it was fixed in May. So you should have a recent version, so you're not affected by this.
There you go.
Yeah, so different versions are. So please consider not using older versions. I know people like to save a few bucks, but if someone could just go into your database and copy all the data or modify data, you don't want to have that. And the same thing for the MBS plugin. I just, for a reason, I'm just updating something simple like a JPEG library. Like you have an image file that contains a byte sequence which causes a crash. And you just don't want that because let's say someone gets such a JPEG file and puts it in a field in your database and gets it committed. And now something like FileMaker Server will try to make a thumbnail of it. Will crash. Every time FileMaker comes to this record, it would crash, and your server would be constantly crashing,
And that's a
bad things could happen. So
yes.
please, if there's a fix available, please use it.
I want to modify the menu bar in FileMaker, but I really, really hate custom menus. Is there a way to get around that with MBS?
Yeah, well, technically, yeah, we have menu functions to do a few modifications on our own menus, and the menu bar functions allow you to list the commands on the menu bar, run them, which is useful for copy and paste. But also we had here some things to change a title or a shortcut or remove a menu command. The problem is that FileMaker from time to time rebuilds the menu. So FileMaker has somewhere the current menu definition. And then when you switch a layout, maybe it decides to rebuild the menu, and then all the changes the plugin made are gone. So I don't know exactly when FileMaker will rebuild the menu, but it's yeah, let's just try it. So let's say I just copy this, go to a data viewer. So FileMaker Pro, let's say I just take the file menu. Does something happen? No. Let's say file manage. Oh, file not found. What? Well, there's a file menu. This is interesting. I renamed the file menu to hello, but it doesn't show hello, but I can refer it as hello. Let's take something like, oh, here, you see hello?
Oh, I see. Yes.
Okay, so you
That is kind of
can use the
wild.
plugin to change the text of menu commands, but there is a chance that FileMaker will revert to something. Let's switch to layouts. No? Hello, still there? Let's make a new layout. So I don't know when FileMaker will rebuild it. Eventually it will, or maybe it doesn't rebuild until I switch to a custom menu back. Could show a dialog. No? Still does it. So maybe this is the answer they're looking for, because it seems to stick around much longer than I expect.
Which is pretty nifty. Still there.
Yeah. Or it doesn't have any menus at all. There's a file menu. Okay, now I would need to know how to work with the menu set. I could switch it here. Okay, and switch back. Still hello. This is working better than I thought.
That's always
Okay.
a pleasant surprise, especially on a live demo.
Yeah, please try the function, use it, see if it works for you. It's just a plugin going in the menu bar and changing the text, and it should also work on Windows, unless something changed there.
Another question that popped up, since people are getting more chatty, is there a way to sync FileMaker's calendar with my operating system calendar?
The question is, do they have a Mac?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Oh.
But we assume they have a Mac at the moment.
Apple has built-in APIs to work with the built-in calendar system, as well as a contacts database. On Windows, that doesn't exist. So if you can decide, either you do it with a native API on Mac to work with the native calendar database on make, or you use the curl functions and use an API, like talking directly to Exchange server, Google server, to upload your calendar events.
It's pretty
So,
nifty.
so here you can just make a new, a lot of functions, you know. So you have to initialize, you have to ask for permissions, and then eventually you can ask your new event. And for an event, you put in, you know, title, notes, URL, whatever you like. Start and end date would be good. And save it to the database.
Yes. I need to parse my emails directly into my database. Can MBS do this?
Yes, of course.
Yes, of course.
Because we have email parser functions, you know, it's in the name. So the email parser function takes the text, the source code of an email, here with the parse function, and gives you back the ID of the past email. And then you can ask it for things like here, I need attachment, I need header, I need maybe a subject line. Subject line is here. You can ask for the recipients or the sender of the email, address. And we have an example file for this. So there's here IMAP email or email client. So you can just open these examples and you can put in the script your email server address and your username and password, and then you should be able to load maybe I find it. So the problem is I need to have it with an account. So so didn't I have here somewhere a test database? Yeah, here we go. So this is just a test account with a couple of spam emails and a ton of spam emails. That's ugly. Okay, so let's take an email and then you can click on the email and it will download the email and put some things in fields, and it also does a preview. So
Ooh.
here, FileMaker 17 launch event is an old email. But it shows you the email as an HTML field, and if it would have a picture, it should also maybe my test email. So I hope it's safe for work. No, there's no picture. No picture. So there's a ton of spam here. Oh, this is so okay. Don't look at the spam. But this example exists. You put in your credentials. Oh, I need to change the password. Okay, and does it still
Then
work?
you have the option.
Yeah, and you can see all the things.
Actually,
So yeah, right. You can build an email client with the MBS plugin. Several people have done it. So why shouldn't you do it? And you find all the different things in the plugin, like the scripts to get emails, the scripts to parse emails. Like, yes, they have plenty of sample code.
the many amazing things that Christian does is the amount of sample code.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Yes. I want to rename objects in a container. I really don't want to have to manually export the container and then name it and then drop it back in. Can MBS do that directly?
Another lucky customer, because version
Right
3
up a function
was
called it.
long ago, 10 years ago, and the function is named container.rename.
Extremely convenient. That's what that is.
Yeah.
There you go.
And you can do it with base64 encode and decode in FileMaker natively with all the plugin, but this is of course not very efficient because it encodes the word content and this just renames it and passes through the data, and so it's more efficient.
This is the same container person. I also want to drag and drop multiple files into FileMaker. at once and have it make a new record for each.
Sure. A lot of soft questions, you know.
Hey, you never know who pops in.
Let me see, where's my test pictures folder? There's my test pictures folder. So take the test pictures, drop them all there, and yeah, save the script. So, and you see, we can drop in a lot of nice pictures. Let's do it again. So, the cool thing here is we put this drop area on the layout for Mac and Windows.
Mm-hmm.
You drop something on it, you get a script triggered, and in the script, you decide what you do. So you could check if you like the file, if you want to make a new record, if you don't want to make a new record, you could check for duplicates here. Whatever you like. And
then you can decide what you're going to do with it. That's actually quite nifty.
yeah, it's a popular thing. And you can combine it. You can make the whole window the top area. So you don't need to have a widget on the screen. You can just make the whole window.
Which is extremely.
Or you can use our overlay functions to have something floating on the screen, like, you know, yeah, this widget could float here on the screen, and just anywhere you are, you could just drop in files, even if FileMaker is in the background.
I think that's probably my favorite version. The overlay stuff is incredibly cool.
Yeah.
Kind of related to the container rename, we have from Ken. I like the rename, but I really want to capture the original name before I rename the container. Do you have a tip for the timing or order to do this? Something like a delayed auto enter question mark?
What could we do? So you want to name the container? Well, you can ask the container, of course, first what's the old name.
Mm-hmm.
Or something like here, get as text. You can just get as text for the field. Yeah, you can ask the picture for its name. And then you can, of course, have a script to rename it. Let's just make one. So set field. Field is MBS container rename field, whatever, test JPEG. Now you see the difference? It's much better. Get as text field. Now it's named test JPEG. So, and in your script where you process your containers, you can of course first query the name and put it somewhere else before you rename it. So I can test the field here. Yeah, text. It's named text. Text. Now in the text field, I can just say here. So the old name need to go a different record. So the old name goes now in the text field, and the container has a new name. There was a question about something triggering script.
Yes.
We have a couple of schedule functions which
Oh,
you can use to well, run a script. And because you can use it from a calculation, you can put that in auto enter. So let's try that. Let's say I have a target script. That's my target. And it has maybe a dialog, and say here, you did it. So now I could have a field. Let's say the text field here. I could say this is calculated, and I could say let, and say what could I do? So I pass back the text. So, you know, the calculation runs. When the text changes, I pass it back the content of the field. So the text doesn't change. Or maybe I just put it in quotes. I don't know. Just run it, and let's try here to run the script. So let's say R is delay, let's say 1 second. File name is get file name. Script name was target. And I don't think we need the rest. Let's save that. Now let's type something. And here we get a script. We get whenever we change it.
That's
This
cool.
was long ago before we had this on record saved on, before
Hmm.
we had here trigger scripts to do things with fields. We had to use calculations to trigger the plugin. So let me show it again if you missed it. So just a let statement, passing back the content of the field so it doesn't change,
Hmm.
and do something with the plugin in between. Could be anything.
Which is cool. MBS schedule is like on timer? Question mark.
Yeah, but you can have several schedules. They can be one time, repeat. They can do a calculation or a SQL or run a script. There's a ton of options.
A lot more flexible.
Yeah, start script after delay at time. Like you can say every day at 3 o'clock, please. Or you can say here, there's a timestamp for later this day, maybe 3 o'clock, or next week, 3 o'clock. Or on idle, like if the user doesn't use his mouse or keyboard. So you can commit a record if it's on edit mode and the person leaves the desk and goes to lunch. You can commit the changes so the record is not locked for everyone else.
Pretty sure we use that one a lot.
Yeah, and we have here things like running a SQL again after delay at a time, timestamp, or on idle. So you can do SQL statements to do something in the background.
Hmm.
Like you could have something like here to just write to a table every 5 seconds how many, whatever, people are logged in or what's the current table. So you could make a protocol of what someone is doing all day. We shouldn't do that. Okay. Or here evaluate, because evaluate lets you put in a let statement again, and you can have other plugin commands.
You
So
can begin stacking them.
yeah, like we have something like here. Let's see. This runs a menu command. Like this, something you have the script running, and when the script finishes, you want this schedule to run, and in this case, it clicks a menu command, like to here, something like here, formatting bar on and off. Or here, whatever menu command you like. You could have the script automatically schedule to run a menu command when the script is finished. This can be useful.
I want to be able to navigate pages in the web viewer, like to be able to go back and forward.
And then forward. Okay. Let's see. We have web view functions.
A lot of web viewer functions.
A lot, of course. I mean, people ask here, go back, go forward.
Ah,
So if the user clicks on links and you want to offer them a button on the FileMaker layer to go back inside the web viewer, you can connect this to yeah, to a button. And it may be useful if you ask the web viewer whether it's possible. I think this was named can. Go back. Oh, we don't have that. So you would have to check yourself if they can actually go back. No. Okay, maybe something we could do. So you know whether the button is possible to use.
like you even have the option instead of it just sitting there. Yeah.
Yeah, but you could just have
Hmm.
button go back, like here, toolbar widget.
There you go.
This is popular. Oh, version 2.4. So this probably has been there 15 years. If you don't have anything to do and you like to meet me in person, you can ask your question in Malmö in 2 weeks,
Yes, which will be
two and a
awesome.
half weeks. Or I'm also coming to Austin. And I signed up for Vienna already. Probably also going to Hamburg.
I mean, that is local to you at least. Well, relatively local compared to popping into another country.
Yeah, but yeah, for me, basically going to Malmö, to Vienna, and Hamburg costs together as much as going to, you know,
Yeah,
that's a. But please join the conferences. It's your
absolutely.
best chance to talk directly to someone from Claris, to tell them your wishes, show them your bugs, get someone to understand what you're doing.
Yes, and you get to see Christian in person and all the other developers, which is always awesome. So,
Yeah.
that being said, thank you very much, Christian. Today has been fun, as always. I appreciate
Okay.
it. Y'all have a lovely day, and I'm going to see you Monday, and next week should be entertaining, if nothing else.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Thank you.
bye, everybody.